This lecture is entitled Diffusion of Technology, and what we're going to be learning about is how new technologies, new innovations, new products are adopted over a period of time, and we will see that that period of time is increasing in recent years, and we'll compare the adoption of recent technologies with technologies from many decades ago and see the differences. Diffusion of technology, what I want you to take away more than anything from this lecture is that the pace of adoption is increasing. And this is particularly true in the last decade with the advent of the internet and the World Wide Web. Those types of technologies, cell phones, iPods, handheld wireless devices, that class of technology is being adopted by more numbers of people faster than any other technology in the history of mankind. If we go back to the telephone, none of us could live without a telephone today, obviously, but at one time there was a time in which the telephone was new technology and it was not adopted by everyone right off the bat. If you go back to about 1875, that's when the telephone as we know it today was invented. Similar work even preceded that. So you can go all the way back to pre-Civil War days when telephone or telephone type technology was being invented. It wasn't until after the First World War in the 1920s that significant numbers of people had a telephone in their homes or even had access to telephones. So that alone is a good almost 50 years before significant numbers even knew what a telephone was. And it was really not until the 1930s before I would call telephones commonplace technology. In the 20s, businesses used telephones first. So you might use a telephone at work, but when you came home, you wouldn't have a telephone. And many people went throughout their lives without using telephones. That changed in the 1930s, and since then, since the 1930s, the telephone has been commonplace technology. But that took a good 50 to 60 years for that transition to happen from technology introduction to technology commonplace adoption. If we compare that to the World Wide Web, the World Wide Web as we know it, the HTML, the web server software, the web browser software, that was created at the start of the 1990s, very early 1990s was when that was first begun as a graduate student project. It only took 5 years or so before millions of people were using the World Wide Web. So in only 5 years, it went from zero or nothing to millions of users. By the next 5 years, and around the year 2000, there were hundreds of millions of users on the World Wide Web. And today, of course, we can't imagine existing without the World Wide Web. So sometime in the last 10 years, it has become commonplace, more likely in the last 5 or 6 years. It has come what I would call commonplace. But that's a product introduction, a product diffusion time or technology diffusion time from zero to commonplace in only a decade, as opposed to 50 or 60 years for something like the telephone. And you can repeat this same kind of comparison with a number of technologies that you can find. Just walk around your house today and look at the kitchen, kitchen utensils, refrigerators, central air conditioning, plumbing, even a few decades before electricity. All of these things at one time were not commonplace, and now we see them as absolutely indispensable for current life, currently what we view everyday life as being. What's going to be next? A decade from now, we're going to be looking back in the year 2017 and looking back to the year 2007 and asking ourselves, how do we ever possibly live without this. And this will be some kind of new technology that is just being launched today, and it will go through another rapid growth and adoption rate, and it will be completely indispensable. Then college students then will have whatever it is hanging on their belts, and everybody will wonder how we ever did without them.